Welcome to We Question and Learn. We're celebrating our 20th year here on the air at WQLN NPR, WQLN FM 91.3. Today, a very, very special guest, Debra Sunya Moore, Senior Vice President, Chief Program Officer for the Chautauqua Institution. We're here to talk about the upcoming season celebrating 150 years. Congratulations, Debra.
Thank you. We are thrilled to be moving into our sesquicentennial celebration.
That's excellent. Now, you have been at the Chautauqua Institution for how many years now?
This is my 10th year, and I just continue to learn more every year and get more excited about the program that we are preparing for you and all of your listeners.
And we thank you. You worked a lot of great places. You were involved with the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, am I right?
Yes, I used to teach a lot there for arts education and working with teachers around the country.
And you've gotten many awards, a designation of Fulbright Specialist in Arts Integration. That was back in 2017 for a couple of years. And obviously arts education, and you've also worked at the university level. Now tell people where you were in 2010.
Well, it's a little funny to mention this now after we just got a foot of snow, but I used to work at the University of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean and then took the not quite so natural path into the snow belt where Chautauqua is. And do not worry, it does not snow in the summer. We will be ready with sunshine and beauty for people to come join us.
And prior to that, the Louisville Orchestra. I just want folks to know that your resume is so appropriate for the position that you're holding now and your responsibility to make sure the programs go well. And I'm hoping you'll take a few minutes now to tell us what's going to happen for the 150th summer of the Chautauqua Institution.
Well, thank you, Tom. We have a great team that is working on not only the program, but preparing the beauty of this place to welcome everybody for the special season. And as you can imagine, we've been thinking a lot about what themes would really resonate for such an important anniversary for Chautauqua. And we've been considering themes that we feel look at history, but also really point to the future and to the relevancy of Chautauqua and the conversations that the country is having right now. We start off with a week on the modern presidency. John Meacham starts that off for us, and we move into a week on artificial intelligence. I think everyone knows that AI is in the news every hour of every day. And then we go right into a week about what we got wrong, learning from our mistakes. And I won't walk you through every weekly theme, but I will say that we have three major partners that I'm really thrilled about because they will resonate not only on the morning lecture platform, but in the evenings for our entertainment as well. We have a week with Renee Fleming, and it's called Exploring the Transformative Power of Music. And the week begins with her performing with the Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra. We also have a week that we are going to close the season with Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra and Wynton Marsalis. They will be doing 4 different evening performances. The major performance is so exciting, it will be repeated twice. It's called All Rise, and it's with the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra. And full chorus will be featuring the Buffalo Philharmonic Chorus and full symphony orchestra. And then we'll be doing several other performances with Wynton Marsalis as well, and he'll be speaking on our lecture platform. And the third major partner week I would tell you about is our week with National Geographic. Those are always huge hits for us, and this is a week on water, crisis, beauty, and necessity. And of course, we will have all sorts of evening entertainment from orchestra to theater to popular as well during those weeks.
The lectures have always been, not that everything else is not more than interesting, but they've been the most interesting to me because of your uncanny ability or your professional ability to bring speakers from all over the world. And these are pertinent, well-known, important speakers and think tank folks and political folks and religious folks who are going to guide us over the next few years. You have mentioned some of the themes. What's your favorite theme for the summer?
No, I'm glad you asked that because it's a theme which I have not mentioned. We are doing a week called Wonder and Awe. It's week 7. It starts on August 3rd for Chautauqua. And this is really the week where we are celebrating the sesquicentennial. I'm talking about experiences that take our breath away, things that make us deeply human, whether it's from a spiritual aspect, something that seems almost magical, things that really make us question, who we are and what is around us. And I think that's really the core of what Chautauqua is. It creates wonder, it creates awe, and it keeps us questioning, and it keeps us connecting. So that's one of the weeks that I would really draw people to. We're still building that week, and we expect for this to be a really special thing, not only through our arts and through our music, but through the things we talk about, including our interfaith lecture series.
For those who are not aware, and so that they don't miss out on these excellent activities, what's the first date of the season for you?
Okay, so the first date is Saturday, June 22nd. We have a fabulous opening night planned for you. I can't share that name yet because it's not announced, but it is booked and ready to go. And we move right into the first week of programming. So June 22nd continues through the week. And that Friday on June 28th, we have a favorite for this region, the Beach Boys.
Oh, my. Perfect. Wonderful.
Yes, so all of that during the week on the modern presidency, and we want to make sure that if you get tired of talking about history or presidents or politics, you can celebrate with the Beach Boys on that Friday. And we also have 3 concerts with the Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra that week, including Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Ode to Joy.
That's fantastic. Who does all this work? Who manages to get these wonderful people, groups, and orchestras to come?
We have an incredible team. So we have a team that does each of the lecture platforms. We have a team that works with the arts. We have artistic directors, Rawson Milanoff with the Chautauqua Symphony, Jade King Carroll with the Chautauqua Theater Company, Stephen Osgood with the Chautauqua Opera Company, Sasha James, who runs our dance. So each of our arts areas is run by someone who was just revered in their field. And in all of our arts areas, we have not only the professional organization and artists that you see in the evening, we also have schools of performing and visual arts that are giving incredible performances and recitals throughout the summer.
Now, there are many programs, and let's invite people to visit the website. How can they find you?
Absolutely. Well, they can always find us at chq.org, and the website will have all of the artists and speakers as they get announced. So at chq.org, you can look up just the lecture platform, just the arts platform, or you can look it up by week to see if you're thinking of coming for a weekend or a whole week. You can see the programming that's happening there.
For folks that don't live near here, and they should seriously consider from wherever they're hearing this to visit the Chautauqua Institution. First, physically, where is the institution?
We are in Western New York, so we are about an hour and 20 minutes from Buffalo, about 45 minutes from Erie, and we are on the beautiful Lake Chautauqua.
Fantastic. And well-renowned for the bell tower, obviously, the icon of the grounds. One of my favorite places to visit is the bell tower and wander up around the circle. There is so much history just in walking and visiting the grounds. Theater is a big thing. Now, there is a Chautauqua Theater Company, am I right?
There is, and I'd mentioned that Jade King Carroll is our artistic director, and there's some pretty exciting things coming up for the theater company. One of the things I'll feature with you is we actually are going to have a world premiere happening this summer. It's a world premiere and a commission of Kate Hamill's newest play. And Kate Hamill is one of the most performed playwrights in the country. And her premiere here will be called The Light and the Dark. I'm excited that it's actually going to be directed by our producing artistic director, Jade King Carroll. And it's going to happen in the final 2 weeks of our 9-week summer. So that's a great way to wrap up your summer in August. And it's a really special experience. Of course, we will have many other theater performances and opera performances as well.
For those who live far afield or maybe are seriously considering visiting Western New York, they need to stop at the Chautauqua Institution. The season opens the 22nd. Is that when the gate opens?
So people can visit year-round. You could come today and walk around our beautiful snowy grounds and treat us like a park. We will welcome you. Our public library is open, our bookstore is open, our gallery store is open, and it's free to come on all year until the summer season starts, when your gate pass becomes your ticket. So Saturday, June 22nd is that opening night that I hope you wait for us to announce. We move right into some wonderful speakers. And I had mentioned our surprise opening night, Beethoven's Ninth, the Beach Boys, but I'd love to tell you a few other things that are happening in the evenings as we go throughout the season as well. I mentioned the Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra, Tom, but I want to remind people that the orchestra is for everybody. We try and make sure we have some orchestra concerts for kids. And the first one I point out to you is we are doing Jurassic Park with orchestra music live on July 6th. And if you thought dinosaurs were impressive in the movie theater, wait until you hear that with live orchestra. So that's July 6th, and that's purposely planned then because July 4th is often a real family weekend for people. And one of our most attended concerts every single summer is our July 4th Independence Day celebration. And right around that July 4th concert with the Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra, we also have our dance concert, All-Star Gala, which is one of the favorites. We have alumni from our school who are dancing with major companies all over the country come back and perform this dance gala on the amphitheater stage. We've got some other great things happening with dance. We have the Paul Taylor Company coming, and we also have Houston Ballet, and they will be doing 2 different concerts with us. So there's a lot to be excited about, but Tom, you and I usually talk about popular entertainment as well. Would you like to hear a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I'm really interested to see what the season is like.
Well, I certainly will. And the thing about popular entertainment is it continues to get booked throughout the spring, but there are some exciting things that are already announced. We have Boys to Men coming. And that's going to happen on July 26th, and we're getting a lot of excitement about that, so get ready to dance. We have Il Divo coming, amazing singers. They're featured a lot on PBS. They will be performing on Friday, August 2nd. August 9th, I can't wait to tell you about, but yes. I have to wait to tell you about.
Okay.
So return to us later on that. August 16th, we just announced we are having Melissa Etheridge return and the Indigo Girls. So that's going to be a double bill that you do not want to miss.
No.
We have, I was just going to mention, we can't announce our closing night yet, but I did want to remind people that in our week with Wynton Marsalis and Jazz at Lincoln Center, we have 4 performances that will have Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra, and 3 of those will be featuring Wynton Marsalis. And so that happens at the end of August. August 20th through 23rd, we are featuring performances with Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra.
It's absolutely exciting. Now, you mentioned you had a team. How many folks does it take to put all this together? Well, let me ask you a more broad question. How many folks do you have working at the Chautauqua Institution?
Well, there's lots of different parts of the organization. On the program team year-round, we have about 35 people. And we also have artistic directors. Some of them work year-round, and some of them have, different length contracts because, of course, they work many different areas across the country during the year. We have conductors that are performing all over and directors that are directing. But for the whole institution, we have about 200 people that are typically working year-round. And then in the summer, it goes to over 1,500 people are here working all those seasonal jobs, from the coffee shops to the gardens. Our whole team is going to be getting this place ready for everybody to come celebrate.
For people who do not know, and it feels like it wasn't that long ago, to me anyway, that the amphitheater was rebuilt. This is an amazing facility. You folks did a lot of work. It's absolutely beautiful.
I think one of the things that's really special about the amphitheater is you can enjoy a single speaker or a single preacher in the morning. That same amphitheater has beautiful acoustics for Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra. And it also has incredible acoustics when all of a sudden it turns to an amplified concert. Sometimes our orchestra does both. I had mentioned that we're doing Beethoven's Ninth and some other real classics, but our Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra in that beautiful amphitheater by the lake is also doing a concert with Tony DeSayer called Sinatra and Beyond. We just announced the show, Genesis and Phil Collins, and that's just going to be just an amazing concert. You'll hear In the Air tonight and lots of favorites. And to hear a concert like that in the amphitheater by the lake, open air but covered in case of rain, is just a real joy.
How many acres are out there? It's got to be over 100, maybe more. I've lost track. I love just visiting.
It's definitely over 100, and I would remind you we also have beautiful golf courses on the other side of the highway. So you can come here, and one of you can be going to an afternoon chamber concert while someone else is golfing and someone else is hearing a lecture from our interfaith series. So I often feel that there's a different path for everyone at Chautauqua, be it tennis, golf, chamber music, rock music, or hearing our orchestra or opera. There truly is just something for everyone.
For people who do not know, there are beautiful homes. There's some historic buildings. It's a lovely place to just be, but it's also a great place to live. I've noticed some new construction. It's just idyllic. It's a wonderful neighborhood, would you say?
Absolutely. And in fact, it really is like a park. So the other 10 months out of the year when it's not summer, again, it's free to come on. We want people to come and walk and to experience Chautauqua. And if they visit our Welcome Center, then right there they can find out about the summer season. You can go online at chq.org. But we'd also be happy to help you at our Welcome Center look at what concerts and what weeks look right for you. You had mentioned walking around, and the lake, of course, is one of our favorite things. And that week with National Geographic on water, I think it's really going to be pivotal, not only nationally, to be talking about water as a resource and water as beauty, but to also be talking about our own lake and the hard conversations that people are having about conservation and how to keep our lake healthy.
It's a beautiful place, and it's great to hear that your folks are so conscious of what a huge value that area, the whole Chautauqua Lake region is. Now, Chautauqua always has been known as a spiritual place. You have a lot of daily worship activities, a wide variety of services for different folks with different beliefs. Do you have a minute to talk about that?
I would love to, and it's important to remind everyone that Sunday is free every day at Chautauqua in the summer. And one of the core reasons for that is we want to make sure that people can come and worship with us for free. So we have morning worship in the amphitheater, and some amazing preachers are coming this summer. And we also have entertainment every day at 2:30 in the amphitheater. You had asked about worship, and I'll also remind people that we have morning worship every day of the summer. So at 9:15 in the mornings before our 10:45 lecture, we have morning worship. But I really wanted to feature those Sundays being free, where people can not only come to the morning ecumenical service, they can also just come and walk the grounds and absorb what's happening. But at 2:30, we always have that free amphitheater concert. And I wanted to point out that we are having the Army Soldiers Chorus will open our summer. Often we have the Army Field Band and Chorus. We're featuring the Soldiers Chorus this summer because people at Chautauqua love songs so much. And that's just a great way to kick off our season. Again, that is free to everybody. And some of the other Sunday free concerts we have are the Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra. We make sure that they're on one free Sunday every summer so that people can bring their kids and their whole family to hear the orchestra. And that concert will be Carnival of the Animals, which is a great thing for kids and family. We feature a lot of our incredible students on Sundays as well, from student dance concerts to student piano concerts. And I just have to tell you, my favorite of the whole summer is going to be a company called Squonk. They are so much fun. They build their own instruments. It's going to be interactive. It's part theater. It's part music. And they even have people come up and help them play the squonkordion. So to see the squonkordion, you'll have to go online or come to Chautauqua, but they will perform on August 4th. And that's really kicking off that week on Wonder and Awe, where we celebrate our 150 years. And Squonk will be there on Sunday. They'll be there on Tuesday. And instead of just being in the amphitheater, we're actually moving them onto Bester Plaza, onto this big green park, so that we can really have an old first night festival. First night being the first night that Chautauqua opened. So it's like a big birthday party that's also going on that entire week for the family.
I'm glad you mentioned for the family. How many places can you go where you can all just sit together, walk together, participate in activities? Children are important. The Chautauqua Institution obviously considers that to be a mainstay, so to speak, of their summer activities. And you have a lot of children's programs, youth and family, etc.
We have children's school for the young ones. We have clubs for the older ones. We also have classes all summer long. We have classes through golf and through tennis, and this would be a great time for us to remind your listeners that children 12 and under are always free at Chautauqua. So with children 12 and under being free, if you want to come out and hear that Phil Collins concert and bring your kids, it might be that you only have to get the 2 tickets for yourself and your plus one, and your kids could come along for free. Think about that Jurassic Park concert. If you have little ones, sit them right by you. They can come for no fee. And if you have older ones, those are the only ones you have to buy a ticket for. We really want to keep Chautauqua accessible for the whole family.
How long does the season last this upcoming summer? Is it into August?
We go all the way through Sunday, August 25th.
Oh, my.
So
okay.
our big closers will be those concerts with Wynton Marsalis. We'll have a big closing night on Saturday, August 24th, and Sunday, August 25th, of course, free to everyone, will be the closing day of the summer.
Now, we need to discuss one important thing. How do you get tickets? How do tickets work? Do you have to buy something for one event? Can you buy something for the season? Are there other packages?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Wonderful.
Is the answer. So chq.org, when you go there, you can click a little button that says Buy Tickets, and you can buy a ticket for one event. If you just want to come hear Boys to Men or Indigo Girls and Melissa Etheridge, you can buy a ticket just for that evening, or you can buy a ticket for a week. You could also buy a ticket for the whole season, and of course, we want you to spend the whole summer with us.
Absolutely. Over the years, do people do that more or less? Has the format, so to speak, of the Chautauqua Institution sort of changed over the years?
That's a great question. We still offer a variety of tickets in many ways, and we find that more people are choosing to come for a week or for a certain number of days rather than the entire summer. So we don't want anyone to think, oh, Chautauqua is a place where you spend the whole summer and I only have 3 days. If you have 3 days or if you have a long weekend, come on out, try it out. I think we're a place that's on most people's bucket list, and once they come, they really get hooked. We truly can be a weekend destination for an orchestra concert or a popular concert. If you live in the area and you just want to hear one speaker, maybe you want to hear John Meacham, maybe you want to come out and hear one of our National Geographic explorers, maybe you want to come hear a lecture or a concert by Renee Fleming. You can buy a ticket just to that one concert. And again, if you have a child 12 or under, they can come with you for free, and you can have a great walk and come have ice cream on Vester Plaza.
I'm sold. I'm thrilled. I love just wandering on campus every Sunday, as many Sundays as I can, getting there during the week. So if you're a working person and you're from Buffalo or Pittsburgh or even Cleveland or Erie, you can get there for 2 or 3 days without disrupting your week and really have a wonderful, enjoyable, recreational, and educational experience. The speaker series sounds so enticing, and I know you're still working on that. But historically, the speaker series is internationally renowned. I don't know how you do it, but it's great that you do.
We have some amazing people that work on curating the lecture series. And I had mentioned John Meacham because he's opening the season. But that same week on the presidency, we also have Andrew Card who's speaking. And he's the second longest tenured White House chief of staff. He worked with President George W. Bush. And so we're not only excited to hear from Andy Card, but also Melody Barnes. I'm not sure if you recognize that name, but she served in the administration for President Barack Obama. And she was assistant to the president and director of the White House Domestic Policy Council. So we have a deeply curated lecture series, which tries to bring people purposely from very different perspectives on one theme. And we know if we're doing it right, you're not going to agree with everyone that you hear. And that's purposeful because the deepest mission of Chautauqua is not only to explore the best in human values, but it's to convene conversation and keep being that honest broker of conversation where people can come, hear opinions that they might agree or disagree with, and civilly discuss important issues with a neighbor or a new friend. And that's truly why Chautauqua exists, is we can have that deep discussion, that deep listening in the morning, and in the evening we can all dance to the Indigo Girls or sit and listen to a symphony together in community under that one roof of the amphitheater.
What a wonderful summary. You are an excellent speaker and excellent representative of the Chautauqua Institution as Senior Vice President, Chief Program Officer. I want to thank you for being here with us and doing a wonderful presentation on an absolutely great organization. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. We just our gates are open to anyone that would like to come this way. Sundays are free, and I hope that we not only see you, but that we see lots of friends in this 150th anniversary season for Chautauqua Institution.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom.
Join WQLN from June 4th through the 8th for an epic journey to Mackinac Island. Start with a festive evening in Frankenmuth, enjoy a cozy night at the Bavarian Inn, then dive into the timeless allure of Mackinac with garden and carriage tours. Don't forget the Henry Ford Museum for a peek into history. Ready to make memories with us? Secure your spot at wqln.org/roadtrips today.
PBS Kids podcasts redefine education with screen-free learning for young minds, boost language skills and critical thinking with captivating content, supplementing classroom lessons effortlessly. Accessible anywhere, anytime, these podcasts are a dynamic tool that transforms education, shaping the next generation's love for learning. When children explore Molly of Denali and Arthur podcasts. More information's at 814-217-6001.
Step into the magic of MJ, the musical that takes you behind the scenes of Michael Jackson's 1992 Dangerous World Tour. For tickets, hit up wqln.org/roadtrips.
Welcome to We Question and Learn. This is Tom Pies. We're celebrating our 20th year here on the air at WQLN NPR. We're on our own viable podcast at WQLN.org, also on NPR One. And right now we're up to about a dozen other podcasts here, there, and everywhere. They keep popping up, and we're certainly glad to be able to communicate with people all across our listening area and the world as well. Today, I got a very special guest, and this is really interesting, I think, to not only folks in Erie, Pennsylvania, Northwest Pennsylvania, and the United States and the world, but Ferki, your organization is called the Jefferson Educational Society, and that was founded back in 2008. Where does the time fly? I want to welcome you to
tell
the
me.
Yeah. I want to welcome you back to the program. You have been there since, was it 2008 when it started, or a little later on?
Oh, a little earlier on. I was involved in the research that got the thing started back in the summer of 2007, I believe.
That's fantastic.
So it's going in 16 or 17 years. I don't know, Tom, but not as old as your podcast, your show. So congratulations on 20 years. You know, we all work in civic engagement, and what you're doing for the community is fantastic. So thank you for continuing to do what you're doing.
It only happens because we have guests and organizations on the air as yours. First of all, let's frame the organization, define it, the mission, vision, maybe a little bit about your goals before we get into things here, so that someone who's just tuning in for the first time can get a basic understanding of the organization and how it works.
Yeah, so we came to existence in the worst time to create anything new. This was in the height of the Great Recessions in 2008. About 13 Erie community members had conducted a study, as I said earlier, that compared Erie to some of the communities that were doing better. You know, like New Haven and Chattanooga and so on and so forth. And what we found at that point was that Erie was an idea that was taking place in some of those communities were taking 8 to 12 years to arrive to Erie, Pennsylvania. So people like Bill Garvey, Joyce Savacchio, Tom Hagen, Charlie Brock, Bruce Ramey, Judy Lynch, all of these folks, they wanted to create some kind of a platform for expediting the emergence of ideas in Erie, Pennsylvania. So what we did, they put me in charge of finding the best models, and what we came up with is a programmatic model which follows the 92nd Street Y in New York, and a research model, obviously with a local focus that follows the Brookings Institution. So that's what we did. We opened our doors in September 29th, 2008, and ever since we have offered somewhere around 15 to 1,700 lectures in this community. We ran the Perry 200, which was to celebrate the War of 1812 and the Battle of Lake Erie. We have a publications division, which does now about 150 to 200 publications a year. And we have a leadership academy, which prepares the next generation of leaders for the Erie community. So all in an effort to make sure that Erie, Pennsylvania moves forward, but not only moves forward using best practices, which have been proven to work. So that's sort of our role here in our community, and you know, we've done some pretty amazing things. So that's my sort of 3-minute elevator speech. Everybody says 30 seconds, and I can never get it there.
Well, you do so much, 30 seconds would be impossible. Now, you have an office. I don't want to call it a corporate office, but your main headquarters is where?
We are in a former Jewish synagogue. Actually, it's current Jewish synagogue. It's 32nd and State Bris Shalom. We share the building with Bris Shalom congregation that is still here. We also have 5, I believe, chapters around the county. So we're in Corey, we're in Edinburgh, we are in Fairview, we're in downtown Erie, and in Harbor Creek. And I think right now we're working on, I think Ben can talk more about that, to open one in Northeast. We found that Erie County is a pretty big county, and it wasn't really fair that there was only one location where it would take, the person out of Corey would take, an additional 2 hours of traveling time to come to a Jefferson lecture. So we wanted to make sure that transportation is not an issue when it comes to civic learning.
I always held your organization in high esteem because we had at WQLN worked for decades with the Chautauqua Institution, and of course you're familiar with the lecture series. I'm not saying that you folks are the same, but I would suggest the model is somewhat the same in that you are bringing important people, excellent speakers, great outreach into our community and beyond. Am I close?
Oh, yeah. In fact, my dissertation was to study the Chautauqua movement. They came into existence after the Civil War because America was so divided, and because ideas that were taken on in places like the Northeast, which was doing really well, were taking quite a long time to travel across the country. So Chautauqua basically started here in Western New York, and there were 800 of them across the country. And it was such a success in terms of civic engagement that America, for example, Chautauqua movement was credited with things like the progressive era, things like child labor laws, and also it was used by the suffragettes to as a platform to share their message, to the point where the 19th Amendment was passed and women were given the right to vote. Chautauqua played a major role in those ideas being accepted by the American people.
Go ahead.
So yes, Chautauqua is our model. In terms of the 21st century, I think they do phenomenal work, and we're just trying to do the same type of thing, except, with the community progress at the forefront of our decision making here.
So that was the center, if I'm correct, of your 2017 dissertation?
It was.
Yeah.
It was indeed.
And you actually got to present that other places around the country. Am I right? I think you went to University of Virginia, maybe?
Yes. I have presented in multiple places. I can't remember all of them, but, I've done it at the Jackson Center in Jamestown. I've done it at our town's foundation, the Tom Tom Festival in Charlottesville. I've done it at University of Redlands in California, and basically what my message is usually, we've given up on civic education, and we don't invest in it, particularly in small towns. I don't think you need a Jefferson in places like Chicago or New York, because the universities are doing a lot of this work. Where things like the Jefferson are needed is in places that can't afford civic education at the highest level. So, my message is we need a 21st century version of Chautauqua to basically remind Americans that what brings us together is usually much greater than what divides us apart. So we've given up on this idea of civic education at the highest level, and particularly when it comes to small towns.
Having worked on the lectures indirectly on the broadcast side, this is no easy task. So could you frame how you started obtaining or getting speakers to come? Do they physically come? Is this done online? Are there events? How have you managed to make this work?
Well, it's become easier over the years, I think, as we've developed a reputation that, the speakers, so most of our lectures happen in person. There are some online that we do. On our website, for example, we have over 400 hours of programming that anybody can watch absolutely free.
Oh, that's amazing. That's totally amazing. But now
Thank you.
my question is, where do you get the energy? I know where the energy comes. How do you get this funded? This is an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, so, most organizations that we've looked at offer about 10, 12 programs a year, and, it's really slow. So what we do is, I think last year we offered somewhere along 160 programs just last year. We just have developed a Rolodex over the years that people that want to speak here at the Jefferson, that enjoy the experience, that enjoy sharing their knowledge. And it's fun, especially for me, because my background is a lot in history and civic education and ideas. I love hearing new things. I love learning new things. So that's myself and Ben Speggen and Raven Clark and Jake Barco. We just find things that we find interesting that Erie should know about, and that gives us the energy to do what we're doing.
Well, let's do a little bit of a plug for a gentleman who's always been helpful to me. Ben Speggen, I believe, is on the line. Ben, are you there?
Tom, I'm here, and I'm grateful to be here, and I share Ferki's sentiment of we are so grateful and appreciative of the show that you do, not just for those in Northwest Pennsylvania, but like you said, the scores of podcasts you're on, and a chance for folks anywhere to be able to tune into the work you're doing, and congratulations on a tremendous 20 years. Can't wait to watch and listen to the next 20.
I'm thrilled for you to say that. But Ben, but the important thing right now that I wanted to ask, Ben, is what are your duties as assigned? How do you participate in the Jefferson Educational Society?
Sure. So, Tom, I appreciate that. And I'm sure somewhere in our institution exists a job description, but I'm really happy to do any of it. I learned from my father and my grandfather before him. Always carry a pocket knife around, so I think I've got a Swiss Army knife approach to what I can do for the think tank. Now, my technical title is vice president, and that affords me a chance to have a hand in a lot of the things we do, and that ranges from working on the global summit, as Ferki was mentioning, our opportunity to import big ideas to our smaller neck of the woods, and to expose people to experts operating at the national and international level and engage in dialogue in meaningful ways, but also an opportunity to do that year-round with our programming. We are so blessed in a place like Erie, Pennsylvania, to have scores of really talented folks, whether working with any number of the universities in our area or other nonprofits or the for-profit sector. We are rich when it comes to folks who know a lot about the work they do, and we have a platform to be able to present those ideas to our public and engage in meaningful conversation. But also, Tom, as you know, I've got a background in journalism, so I'm always excited to be able to help out in the publications division. Just like the programming of, well over 100 events a year, we have well over 150 publications going out. Thanks in large part to our publications division director, Pat Cuneo, a longtime journalist in the Erie area and editor and writer. Now that we have him at the think tank, he's doing tremendous work there, ranging from, timely articles that come out, for current events to books that we're working on for years at a time to be able to put out. We are so fortunate to be able to have a robust publications division that we think rivals any think tank, be it in DC, Chicago, San Francisco, New York. And then on top of that too, Tom, I'm excited to be involved in the JES's Civic Leadership Academy. Our programming tends to attract, by industry standards, a more mature and seasoned learner, somebody who has the chance to re-engage learning for learning's sake. And we're always looking at ways to engage younger people in conversation, be it by having younger speakers, which naturally attracts that kind of audience, or being able to engage them through the Civic Leadership Academy, which provides a 7-month-long experience for those looking to become more active participants in their own democracy, better learn the form and function of municipal government, and work as a cohort to address a critical issue facing the region. So I really say, I know Ferki will say this about his job, but I'll say it about mine too. I think I've got the best job out there. I get to do a lot. I get to experiment a lot. I get to be a part of what I think is an important mission and important work in really looking at how we continue to fortify democracy through civic education in a number of ways.
When I look at your list and then go back to everything that Ferki had mentioned, I know you have several hundred employees up there on Upper State Street. 1,400 programs, books, publications. It sounds like a large corporate structure. And before we go too far, I'm going to ask you about the Global Summit Speaker Series, which will verify some of the perspective I have. How many people do you have working on all these projects?
So we are fortunate to have one of the mightiest teams in Erie, and that's thanks to Ferki, who's been building this over the time and finding talented people to plug in who are passionate about the kind of work we do. But Tom, we're looking at I think less than a dozen people working on day-to-day operations and carrying this out. But it goes back to that network that Ferki was talking about earlier, and really being able to build that Rolodex out over time of our contributors list. Folks that can offer insight into areas where they are experts, and that they can be part of what we're building in terms of a platform for civil civic dialogue. That they can find meaningful ways to contribute. But yeah, we've got less than a dozen people working on this as our small but mighty team. But we're so fortunate to have hundreds of folks that have contributed to the GDS over the years in meaningful ways.
Ferki, please. Before I distract you, and I just want to go back to, please forgive me for interrupting you, going back to the Global Summit Speaker Series, which is part of all these important tasks you accomplish. Could we sneak in here, and could you address that for a couple of minutes?
Oh, absolutely. I just wanted to say that the Jefferson takes very seriously the fact that how we ask people for money for funding the organization. Everybody comes here in sort of a 90% discount because of our funders. And what we tell them is that we want to make sure that costs are low, that administrative costs are low. We've kept them below 20% last 2 or 3 years. The Global Summit is really our flagship program where we, with the help of our sponsors like LECOM and Erie Insurance and Logistics Plus, we're able to bring in, and so many others, by the way, we're able to bring in some of the top leaders, thought leaders in multiple circles right here in Erie, Pennsylvania. We brought in former presidents. We brought in some of the best journalists around the country. In fact, one of our Global Summit speakers is coming May 9th. Doris Kearns-Goodwin will be back here in town, and the program partnered with the Erie Bar Association. So the Global Summit, does about 7,000 people attended every year, and it happens in November and October, and we're working on many speakers, and we're looking forward to the next one. We just had one, by the way, a couple months ago.
I can see subjectively, because I constantly peruse the Chautauqua Institution site and yours. It's amazing how much you both, but particularly how much you've accomplished right here in the city of Erie. Could we talk about, for half a second, who supports you? Let's talk about your board members first. That's always a critical thing. And maybe we could graduate over towards your staff. Could you talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, sure. So our support in the board is really a diverse board of people. Right now, for the past 9 years or so, Joy Savacchia was our chairwoman of the board, and she is still on the board. However, she just stepped away from the chairman. Bahar Gaucher, former faculty at Edinburgh, is the chairman of the board. Folks like Bruce Ramey and Charlie Carl and Dale McBriar and Paul Gamble, Johnny Johnson. We have a really good board of people that care about civic education and care about the future of this community.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned a very energetic staff doing outstanding work. Once again, you have about a dozen folks that accomplish different projects there.
So, we generally have somebody in the front office that takes the registrations and phone calls and so on and so forth. We have Ben as our program person who is overseeing the bread and butter of the organization, the programming part of it, the leadership academy part of it. We have Jake in charge of the operations. We have Raven with offsite programming. And we have Pat, who's in charge of publications. Then we have about 6 or 7 scholar-in-residence that are just doing research, basically free of charge. People like Andy Roth. Judy Lynch, former county executive, spent 15 years working for the Jefferson without charging us anything to... She's about to publish the most comprehensive economic development history of northwestern Pennsylvania ever published. It is somewhere in the realm of 600 to 700 pages. It comes out this May. So these folks are technically part of our team, but what they do for work is basically... they've made their living, in a very long career. And, once they turn, 65, the world expects them to retire. Well, the Jefferson seeks them.
Yes.
We don't want them to retire after amassing all that knowledge. Their best work can still be ahead of them. And people like Andy Roth, who does a weekly publication for us, or David Frew, or Paris Baker, or Diane Chido, and so on and so forth. All these folks are, in any other think tank, they would be full-time employees, but they are doing this as a community service, which really says a lot about their commitment to our community, which holds a dear place in all of our hearts, especially mine, because it's the first place I know after coming here from Kosovo. So.
Okay.
I'll stop talking for a little bit.
No. Thank you. That was great because you led up to the next thing. You mentioned Kosovo, and talk about your history prior to being here at the Jefferson.
Yeah, I came to Erie as a war refugee from Kosovo. There was this crazy person in former Yugoslavia by the name of Slobodan Milosevic that was doing to us basically what Putin is doing to Ukraine right now, is persecuting people for who they are. And he was determined to get us all out of our country, either force us to leave or kill us all, until there was a NATO intervention. This is 1999, and we were able to get out, and we were sponsored through an executive order by President Clinton. We landed in Fort Dix, New Jersey. Mike Mornock from the International Institute asked us where we wanted to go. And basically, we told him we wanted to stay close to New York so we could fly back home. And he's like, well, we're only 30 minutes away. Tom, I don't think this is the New York we had in mind, but those are details. So that's how I landed in Erie. I've been here for the last 25 years. I love this town, and I want to give back to the community. That's sort of the mission that I have in my heart.
Well, you landed in a good place when you look at the entire history of this community, even back to the beginnings of the larger industrial organization, say 1888, 1898, Zern was 1899. When you start thinking about it, you really ended up in a place that was actually an industrial leadership community, metals, plastics. You ended up in a good place, and I think subsequently, and I'm going to let you answer this question, you've met some great people here?
Oh, absolutely. And this is part of the reason why I love Erie. I think I see it through a with a new sort of outlook. I often tell people, I'm like, Erie, Pennsylvania is in America.
Yes.
And there is no reason why a city in the most powerful, best country there is on the planet Earth should have an inferiority complex. And I see the potential in this Erie, and I work with people like the folks at Erie Insurance and the folks at ECRA and some of the folks that are really trying to that have Erie's best interest at heart. And there's a lot of love for the community, and I think we just need to shine more light on that rather than all of the negatives. So I think being from Kosovo and coming to Erie and making this place my home, I just see so much potential, and it feels good to know that I can make a difference here.
As you look at the Jefferson Educational Society, Ferki, is it going to be the same a few years from now? Do you have growth plans? Do you have any other objectives in your big business plan to come? Any ideas?
Oh, now you want company secrets. Our aim is always to get better at serving our mission, which is a nonpartisan way of moving Erie forward and making Erie its best self. If we can refine that to continue our work and do it in a better way, we're always looking for ideas. Ben can tell you I drive them crazy as we're trying to make what we do better and bigger. And that's the Jefferson has become an asset to the community. It's a community asset. It's not some think tank out of Washington, D.C. It's right here in Pennsylvania, in Erie, Pennsylvania. We're accountable to the community to do the best work we can. And the mission stays the same. Get better at what we do and do more of it. So that's the strategic plan of the Jefferson.
Well, congratulations on accomplishing that to date. It's an outstanding community resource, and I hope people who have not participated in any way in the past take an hour or two out of their time and look at your agenda on your website and maybe come to hear a lecture or understand a little bit more about what you do. So how do they find you online?
Ben, do you want to get through that, or you want me to?
Sure. So I'd be happy to say, Tom, everything to what Ferki has said, if we're not a think tank for everyone, we're a think tank for no one. The entire community is welcome to be involved. You mentioned our headquarters. We're at the corner of 32nd and State Streets in Erie, Pennsylvania, but we're online at jeserie.org. There, folks can see the cache of the more than 400 programs available, read publications from our archive. They can also learn more about how they can support the JES through membership. They can join as a member and further support the mission that we do, keep the costs low to anybody out in the community looking to access what it is we do. And of course, those that are experiencing financial barrier, we have scholarship funds available too, but that's really thanks to the support of our members. We are grateful for that. You don't have to be a member to participate in the programming we do or receive our publications, but it certainly helps us continue to do the work that we do. You can also give us a call at 814-459-8000. And of course, stop by, meet the team, visit us with programs, and see what we're all about. Come back and support what we think is one of the best assets in Erie, Pennsylvania, and nationwide.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. So hearty thanks to you both, Dr. Ferki Ferati, Ben Speggen, and all the great work you do in this community and the great work you do for the Jefferson Educational Society.